She kept coming back. Cigarettes had become her higher power. Although it took a while to grasp the program, she kept coming back week after week and found another higher power, one that freed her from nicotine and gave her back her life. I smoked what I hope was my last cigarette on July 18, 1993 at 7 a.m. I remember it clearly, standing on the porch, tapping ashes into a soda bottle. I didn't try to make it last or savor it. I just had to smoke it and then let it go. 20 years earlier, I had smoked my first cigarette with a friend in the woods behind her house. We stole it from her parents' stash and later lied about it. I don't remember much about how it tasted. I don't think I actually inhaled. My real smoking career began at age 16 when I asked my mom for a cigarette so I could smoke with the adults. At first, she refused, then gave in. I liked it from the start. I thought, this is what I have been waiting for all my life. I loved the nicotine high and smoked off and on for a couple of years until I was a senior and was definitely hooked. I began to suffer physically when I went without for several hours at school. I fell asleep in class every afternoon. Previously a top-notch student, I lost interest in school. I could have smoked at school if I had parental permission. I grew up in North Carolina, and the schools had smoking areas for those over 14. I was too embarrassed to smoke at school. Only the low-life types did that. I continued to smoke through college and then married right after graduation. The depression I had suffered for years deepened drastically. I was ill-prepared for coping with life and a rocky relationship and turned to cigarettes more and more. It seems I spent most of my days sitting at the kitchen table smoking. I also had a drinking problem. After coming close to suicide, I got into therapy and AA. I got sober, but I was still miserable. I thought constantly about stopping smoking, but felt completely hopeless. I tried the nicotine gum, and I stayed off cigarettes for about 2 months until I got stressed out. Years passed, and I smoked and smoked and smoked. I was certain that if I wasn't such a bad person, I would quit. That my life was unmanageable due to nicotine became clearer. My doctor prescribed inhalers for smoking-induced asthma and warned me of the emphysema that laid ahead if I didn't stop. I smoked in the face of 2 cancer deaths in my family. My grandfather died of lung cancer and my father died of mouth cancer from pipe smoking. My family is full of nicotine addicts. My grandmother did snuff. Fortunately, most members are abstinent now. I spent money on cigarettes that I needed for other things. I smoked in my cat's airspace. Worst of all, I suffered a miscarriage after developing a condition frequently related to nicotine or cocaine abuse. Nicotine has separated me from my values. I smoked even though I knew it was bad for the baby. Nicotine had me. My life is proof that nicotine is a drug, and I am a drug addict just as surely as a heroin or cocaine addict. As the unmanageability of my life began to add up, I realized I needed a 12-step program. I was not getting much support from AA or therapy when I discussed quitting. I even had a doctor suggest that I was too depressed to stop smoking. I finally found Nicotine Anonymous, and I attended meetings weekly. Still, I continued to smoke. I tried cutting down to quit, but I don't have the kind of energy it takes to control nicotine. It is too powerful. I smoked and I was totally miserable. I obsessed about smoking and quitting. At one point I thought I would either have to quit smoking or die because I was in so much pain. Fortunately, I didn't have to die. My higher power saved me. One night I was out driving and smoking. I was really upset and yelled aloud, "I'm tired of struggling with this smoking." Then a voice said, "Then why not let it go?" And the urge to smoke was gone. The first time in my smoking career that I was unchanged from the compulsion to smoke. I would like to say that I quit there and then, but I was still scared of life without nicotine, so I took the addiction back. At least I knew the way. I continued to go to Nicotine Anonymous all this time and developed friendships with the members. I attended meetings for more than 2 years before I stopped. I was always welcome, although I still smoked. I began to realize that I had made smoking my God, my higher power. It was my solution to every problem, every emotion in my life. Sad, angry, happy, broke, scared, sick. I smoked. I also realized that I was terrified of quitting. I began to trust a little in a power greater than myself. Someone at a meeting said she asked for courage and willingness to stop. I did the same, and it worked. I set a quit date for July 18th, but I was dragging my feet, afraid of failure. I prayed for guidance. HP, which is higher power, gave me a nudge. I had the phone watch for AA on the 17th. In the middle of the night, I had to find someone on the 12-step list to call a person back. After about 15 no answers, I finally reached a man who had lost his larynx and spoke with an amplifier. So there was my guidance from HP. I stopped smoking that morning. I used the nicotine patch. It was rough the first 3 months, but I had the support of the group and HP. I was depressed and full of rage for a time. My worst fear in quitting was that I would lose my job because I would be emotionally out of control. Well, I did lose my job for a different reason, and I found out that I could survive losing my job. The worst had happened, and I didn't have to smoke over it. Furthermore, I found that HP provided me every step of the way. Today I have almost 2 years. I go for days, even weeks, without thinking of smoking. I can't stand being around smoke. I'm much calmer now. I'm less depressed. I'm more involved in life. I'm learning how to live a life based on spiritual ideals. I do service work in the program. To me, it's vital to stay with Nicotine Anonymous. It saved my life and continues to bless me in so many ways. HP gave me, a completely hopeless addict, a miracle. Freedom from the compulsion to smoke.